Hello, my lovelies. It's LaShanda Henry here, and today I am going to be actually doing a collab session with the lovely June Allen, so that we can talk about some wonderful things with you all around building community and collaborations too. So let's see if I can get June to jump on here, and we can get started. Hi, hello, hello. Okay, so for some reason, I can add Michelle. I cannot add June. I don't know why. We're having one of those technical issue days, my friend. I can see you, but right now I can't seem to add you. Okay. Approve. Good morning, Janelle.
Am I in? Am I in?
Yay! Does
Yay!
it
Yes,
feel
can you hear me?
better? I can hear you.
Yes.
Are you
Oh my
good?
God, there's no echo. It's great. It's so much better.
Okay.
Oh my God, that was so stressful. Thank you for that. Oh
No
my God, I don't know what is
problem.
going on. I should definitely have the knives out for my internet browser, my internet people. I don't know if it's them anyway. Anyway, thank you so much for that. So anyone, I am so happy to be doing this broadcast with LaShanda. I'm just going to go from the top because obviously, yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
nice. So, in honor of Marcus Garvey's birthday, which happened on the 17th of August, which was last Saturday, I wanted to share a series of broadcasts about Black business. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about empowerment and collaboration and all of that kind of stuff. So I was kind of talking with LaShanda about all of this stuff, and LaShanda has her annual Back to Business conference in October. So last time we had one of our one-to-one sessions, I was like, LaShanda, let's do something. Let's do something. So, yeah, I just thought it was a really good opportunity to kind of share, how we've worked together and how that's worked, share about the conference, the amazing things that I've learned both as a customer of yours and also, collaborating. We've done a few things together over the years. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to have the opportunity to actually share a lot of the stuff that I've learned individually and what we've learned together, and share that with other Black businesses, because there is a lot of stuff that that people talk about, the stereotypes around Black businesses, Black people not trusting each other, and Black people don't support each other, and all of those sorts of conversations. So I just wanted to really address a lot of that stuff in this conversation. So I'm so excited to be having this conversation with you. I've been working with LaShanda now for, is it 4 years? Or is it longer than that? Is it
It,
four
you know,
years?
I feel like it's about that time. I mean, it's whew, it's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about 4 years. Maybe I had a little, maybe 3 month break or something. I was like, no, I need LaShanda back. Come back. So I, so I kind of said, oh, can I come back? So then after 3 months, I just, yeah. So when this stuff works, it works. When this stuff works, it works. So yeah, so I just wanted to come on and obviously just share some good about all of this stuff. So LaShanda, can you share with us? I'd love to know. Tell us a little bit about Back to Business generally. I'd love to know, like, what was it? Why did you set it up in the first place? What was the drive behind it? The Back to Business
Absolutely.
conference.
So, just to backtrack before I get into back to business, if you're unfamiliar with me, LaShanda Henry, aka Sister Sense, as an infopreneur, mentor, web designer, and so much more. My vision, my objective is to simply just support other entrepreneurial spirits, men and women, majority women, sister girls like myself, looking to really monetize their magic, share their melanin magic, and grow online. And, after a few years, because I've been doing this, as you know, for almost 20 years now, after a few
Mm.
years, I was thinking about my community and I said, y'all are tired of listening to me. You want to listen to some other folks that I know. So I can, I just felt like being in a space where there were times where I could jump on the phone and talk to some of my favorite business besties, and they happen to also be coaches and professionals, consultants
Yeah.
too. And I said, if we're going back and forth and supporting each other, I would love for my clients to be able to have that kind of experience. So I went from just
Mm.
kind of being in a space where I was jumping on the virtual scene so I could be seen and support and encourage other entrepreneurs to creating back to business. This is the ninth year as an opportunity,
Wow.
tongue tied, as an opportunity to really highlight other Black women entrepreneurs and men, and also just women entrepreneurs in general, that are really invested in sharing their experience and helping other people understand what it takes to really level up their business, to get from
Mm.
being in a place where they're in a 9 to 5 so they can transition, right? So they can work for
Yeah.
themselves, so they can get to the 6 and 7 figure level, so they can understand what it means to market themselves. There's so many nuances to both entrepreneurship, but of course, as you know,
Yeah.
being a Black entrepreneur, that it's important that you have other entrepreneurial spirits that look like you, that understand where you've
Exactly.
come from, to be able to help you go in the right direction. So I would
Yeah.
say, in a nutshell, that funny little anecdote of wanting people to, in my circle anyway, hear my people, not just me,
Yeah.
and then have
Yeah.
that turn into a larger back to business community,
Mm.
originally called the Power Circle, and expanded over the last 9 years.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. It's good. And actually, that was, the Back to Business conference was actually how we met. That's how I found you from doing that, because, you know, you went through a stage where I think you were doing 30 live streams in 30 days or something before,
Mhm.
like, leading up to the conference.
Yes.
Um, so you were coming on every day, and you were sharing your stuff, but you were also sharing a lot of your own personal, experiences and stuff like that. And I love that, because another reason why I wanted to kind of get you on, and to kind of share you with my community as well, was because, I hear people all the time, Black people saying, oh, I don't want to do that live, I don't want to do live stream, I can't bother with the marketing, I don't really know how to do it. And and then all Black businesses wanting Black people to go to they want them to go to their premises. Instead of the Black businesses going to where the customer is, they want the customer to go to where they are.
Right.
And just from working with you and understanding how you work, and kind of watching how you operate, it has to be the other way around.
Right. You
We
have
have
to
to go
help
with the
people find
customer.
you by being
Yeah.
where they are.
Yeah. So I wanted to, it was important for me to kind of get you to come on and kind of share a lot of this stuff, because it is so important for us as Black businesses. And I also suspect that there's stuff underneath, why they don't want to do marketing. Maybe it's fear of being seen, maybe it's fear of being visible, and all of that kind of stuff. So I think sometimes under that conversation is maybe low self-esteem or lack of confidence, fear of what people are going to say, and all of that kind of stuff. So I think it's important. I wanted to just not just talk about the external stuff that we need to do in business, but also the internal stuff, how we feel about our businesses, how we feel about showing up and being seen, because it's not easy. It's not easy doing that stuff. And I've heard you talk about, when you shared your journey many times, talking about, people would say to you, can we get on the phone? And you were like, I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't go on the phone. I just, email me or whatever it is. Um, and I went through that as well. Before you challenged me to start doing live stream, must be what, maybe it's about 18 months ago, I think. Maybe you challenged me to do the 8
Your
day live
anniversary.
stream thing.
Yes.
And
Your
I was terrified.
anniversary.
I was really terrified. And so I think, and for me, it was fear of being seen. It was to do with lack of confidence and not really feeling, what am I going to say? And what about if I say something wrong, and thinking that I have to do it perfectly, or I don't want to get in front of the camera, and and all of that kind of stuff,
That
you
for a
know?
lot of us is revolved around tackling the resistance of image. And,
Yeah,
we have a lot of conversations online about Black women and the battles that we have to go through, right? And
mm,
everybody is like the new Beyonce song, from The Lion King. Everybody's like trying
yeah,
to really embrace beautiful Black girl skinness. But internally, we still struggle with that. And
yeah,
so being in a place where honestly, it wasn't simply I didn't want to show my picture, because I didn't want to show my picture, right? When I jumped
yeah,
online. And I'm not
yeah,
the only one, because I work with clients and I build websites and people say, oh, I hate the way I look. I hate the way I sound. I want to just use other pictures, or I want to use other non, dot, 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 African American pictures, or more general pictures, right? So I look
yeah,
more appealing. That's systematic of everybody saying, well, brown girls or Black girls, you look too angry, you look too aggressive, you too this,
yeah,
you too that. We just now getting into this melanin magic stuff. This stuff ain't
yeah,
long term. This is some
yeah.
new stuff, which means we
It's
still
true.
have years worth of don't like the way you look, don't like the way you sound, don't like the way you come off as over super this or that,
Mm,
abrasive or whatever. And that has bleeded into how comfortable we are with representing ourselves and our businesses.
yeah,
And we live in an economy where right now you have to become the face of your business. But it's a
yeah,
challenge when you've been told for how
yeah.
many hundreds of years that you shouldn't be the face of anything.
Mm, yeah. And that can be quite painful. I remember when I first started doing the live streams, it was painful. It was
Yeah.
painful to do that. And like you said, when we've been told that for hundreds of years, that stuff doesn't go away just because the internet said we can now do live stream. That stuff doesn't go away. So you have to be, I work with women where I have to teach them how to start naming that stuff, to start saying it out loud, because the
Yeah.
shame will only lift start having those conversations. And again, this is one of the reasons why I kind of jumped on what you were doing back 4 years ago when you did the back to business thing, because for me to see all those gorgeous Black faces, I mean, you have like maybe 10, 15 different Black women, and it's just like, wow, like there's 15 Black women in one space, for business, and talking about everything from,
Marketing,
building,
sales,
marketing,
starting up.
sales, social media, mindset. Oh my God, and these are not just women that are just piddling about. These are kind of 6 and 7 figure businesses,
Yeah.
you know. So to be, I was like, do you know what? I need to be part of this. I need to be part of this thing, because it was just really empowering to be able to see that. And for me as well, it wasn't just about what the ladies were saying. I wanted to know how does the intricacies of it work? How do you deal with the mistrust and all of that kind of stuff, and kind of wanting to know, what are the resistances and how do you deal with that as Black women? Because again, there is that conversation around, well, Black women don't really get on. Black women can't do business together because they're always
Crack the
competing.
barrel. Hmm.
Yeah. So what would you say were the resistances around collaboration and stuff like that with Black women that you've mastered over the years? And yeah, how has that kind of impacted how you work?
I believe that your vibe, as they say, attracts your tribe. And so at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's just for me when I invite speakers, the majority of the speakers that participate in Back to Business, this being the ninth year, this year the conversation is ready for revenue. Last year we talked about how
Mm,
now every year the conversation is slightly different based on a specific theme. The first people I go to are my sisters, the ones who I directly know, who I've worked with in some way, shape, or form.
okay.
And I always bring up the same people. I remember one of my favorite business besties, Rochelle Shaw. And Rochelle will probably be speaking as this year as well. Rochelle has spent well over six figures investing into coaching and learning from the big
Wow.
club. You know what I mean? Uh, Built her own $1 million business in Las Vegas. Came to me and said, "Look, I know how to do this offline thing. You know how to do this online thing. Let's do this thing."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so she
Yeah.
knew so much about marketing and she had invested so much into that. And I knew so much about technology and social media and all the blogging pieces that it was like it made sense to transform and come together,
Mm.
right? When
Yeah.
everybody's got something on the table that's valuable. Because, see, a lot of times when we end up in the crabs in the barrel, it's either because of insecurity, right?
Yeah.
Or people are in the place where they want to arrive on top of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a great deal
Yeah.
of I want to be, and now there's two ways to play this coin, right? I want to be your Gail, right? I want to be that best friend support system, or I want you to be Oprah, and I want you to kind of drag me along, you know, and that's not
Yeah.
the way we do things. We need you to be the real Gail, the person who is just as qualified, and there's a good balance. Not that you being dragged along,
Yeah.
right? So I say that to say
Yeah.
there are people who, if they're bringing as much value to the table as you are, number one, if they're willing to teach you, because not only are some people trying to eat off of your plate or trying to skirt off of your coattails, they are in a place where they want you to teach them everything. That's not how it works. When
Mm.
I work with
No.
Rochelle, we're on the phone for 5, 6 hours. Okay, this is what's
Yeah.
working with me. Okay, this is what's working for me, right? One of my other favorite
Mm.
business besties, Charvette, she's a web designer. I'm a web designer. She coaches, I coaches. We still work together. We've worked with
Yeah.
clients together. So it's a situation where you got to find people who, one of my favorite quotes is, I've never had to screw out another woman's light bulb to shine. You see what I'm saying? You got to
Yeah.
be in a place
Yeah.
where people can be in the same lane as you, but they ain't no traffic because everybody in their lane.
No. Exactly.
You're
I
supporting
love
each
that.
other, you're teaching each other, you're working with clients together. You got to be in a space where you have those type of people around you. Then it's
Yeah.
not difficult to do something like a back to business. You know what I'm saying? When you're looking,
Mm.
when you try to attract people only for image or for fast cash, for whatever
Yeah.
reason that you see, oh, let me green eye monster it, let me see if I could check them and get something out of them. Those
Yeah.
relationships
Not
never
well.
start and or end well, right? It's
Yeah.
got to be deeper. It's got to be value. It's got to be that true Oprah Gill, good best friend kind of experience, right? For
Yeah.
it to be
Yeah.
valuable for you. So, you check your internal motivations when it comes to you trying to work with other people, and you do the same thing for them. There's a great
Mm.
clip of Issa Rae, the curator of Awkward Black Girl and Insecure, another amazing sister girl. And she talked about being in a space where she said, you know what, when I was creating Awkward Black Girl, I looked to my friends to help me when this is when she was talking about transitioning and funds were tight and she did her Kickstarter and made thousands of dollars to fund her YouTube channel.
Wow.
I looked to friends to help me do my video, to help me get costumes and get all this stuff done. She said
Yeah.
too many people make the mistake of they want to get to Ava DuVall already. They want to get to Oprah already. They want to
Wow.
get to Beyonce already. You need to reach the people on your plane
Your
that
level.
you can
Yeah.
touch and grab and talk to. Yes, you got to introduce yourself to other
Mm.
people. But the reality is, when it comes to mass media, most people, you got to arrive before people want to see you have arrived. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's
They
true.
don't just want to put
Yeah.
you on. It's when you arrive that everybody's
Mm.
like, oh, can I get you on? Dot, dot, dot. So it's important
Yeah.
for you to have a good vibe. Check how you approach other people. Be conscious of how other people approach you. And if there's a good value exchange there, and I can say in full,
Mm.
full, full, full amazingness. That when I think about women like Rochelle, and I think about women like you, June, and I think about women like Charvette, women that I've worked with, that full value exchange is genuine, then
Yeah.
there's no problem.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
but
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. I think it's really, really important because the key word there for me, what you said, was value exchange. Value exchange. Because one of the things that I'm realizing now is that, like sometimes I'll get people in my inbox asking me for different things. But I can see that they're just not ready. They're not ready. Or the value exchange is out of proportion,
yes.
and it doesn't mean that I don't want to help and support people. I give away a lot of free content, a lot to people. So I have to be also conscious of my own boundaries around
Yeah.
that stuff as well, because obviously, and I don't want to be in a position where, I agree to maybe collaborate with somebody and then it feels top heavy because I feel like I'm kind of holding the collaboration because that person just isn't ready. So I
Mm.
think what you're saying about the value exchange thing is really important, because then if I just do it because I feel like I just want to help that person, and I did it out of more of a people pleasing thing rather than the value exchange conversation, then that can just end up breeding resentment and stuff like that. So I
Oh yeah.
think it
A
is
lot.
important to,
There are a lot of
yeah,
angry Black women out there. Sometimes because we feel inclined to want to work with people that we know we shouldn't work with, right? Or sometimes we
just
angry
not ready.
because we try to and we try to help folks that they say they want our stuff but can't afford it. And sometimes those are the people that work us the most, and they didn't finish paying for this and they didn't quite do that. You've got
Yeah,
to set clear boundaries as far as the
yeah,
relationships that you have with people. You know what I mean?
yeah,
June is my sister girl.
yeah,
June is my client. June and I have worked together. Every different form of that relationship, there's a clear boundary. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like if you're going to be a part of Back to
yeah.
Business, you're going to speak, you're going to be an affiliate partner. I'm going to make sure that if you're promoting it, you're going to bring in revenue, right? If you're a client, if
Mm,
we're getting on the phone and you're talking to me, I'm going to make sure that there's an investment there, right? If you say, okay, LaShanda, I
mm,
want you to help me build something, then we're going to identify, do you need this level package or this one? What works for you?
yeah,
I'm not going to over put myself out there, nor do I encourage you to do that, right?
yeah,
When people come to you, don't over put yourself out there because you feel obligated on
yeah,
some level, right? And there are a lot of
yeah,
things that we do as a people, right? I'm not going to go into the whole Jay-Z thing because there are a lot of one side and this side, and the reality is, whether you look at me or you or Jay-Z or anybody else, we are people. And unlike
yeah,
any other race, 9 times out of 10, what we do for ourselves becomes what you're doing for the community. Like when you
yeah,
make decisions with how
yeah,
you move and what you do and how you operate in your money, look at how that affects the community. Does
yeah,
anybody else,
yeah.
Asian,
No,
Spanish, what have you, like when we
no one
do,
else does that.
it's like you
No,
become you not only can you do things for yourself, but you become a larger image or reflection of
spokesperson.
everybody,
Yeah,
right? So again, I mean, I say there's a lot of us that are angry because we got to deal with a lot. Sometimes we feel like we put
mm,
too much of ourselves out there because we feel obligated, right?
yeah,
Either from the racial perspective or the spiritual perspective. There are a lot of Black Christians who, there's some stigma around charging a certain amount.
yes,
So you are
yes,
mentally going into your business as an entrepreneur undercharging, because to
under
overcharge,
earning.
you
Yeah,
feel like you ain't Christian enough. You ain't Black
yeah,
enough. Trying to fleece the people because your people already been fleeced enough, right?
yeah,
There is so many interesting nuances to the psychology of selling as a Black person, selling to other
mm,
Black people, and understanding we got a lot of healing to
yeah,
do. Whether it be, as we talked about
yeah,
earlier, just visually feeling comfortable in our own Black skin to get on a live stream or put our picture up there, to hear the sound of our voice. We got healing to do, right? when it comes to working with
Yeah.
other Black people, whether you're working because you're giving them your money or you're working with them as partners, we got healing to do, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot more than that can be said, and I'm sure you can say it too, but there's a lot that goes into it that we have to individually be conscious of, because all of these pieces
Yeah.
sometimes are chipping away at us subconsciously, and we don't realize these things are making us as entrepreneurs, they're making it harder for us to
Mm.
progress and grow.
Yeah. And this is why, you know, one of the reasons why, another reason why I wanted to get on and have this conversation, because a lot of us can, you know, talk about the external part of it, the marketing and all of that kind of stuff, which is an important part of business. But I think for me personally, I think one of the reasons why a lot of Black businesses, they don't succeed, or they don't, you know, they don't thrive, is because we've got all of this, the healing stuff going on underneath that we think is not relevant. You know, Black empowerment is useless if, for me, if you're not doing the internal work, because there is
Yeah.
so much stuff, you know. And I'm going to be talking a lot more about the internal stuff in terms of dealing with customers, what triggers people and all of that kind of stuff, codependency in business. There's such huge topics. I'm going to be talking about them more throughout the week. But these are all things that I think, as Black businesses, that we need to be doing the internal work as well as the external stuff, so that you can, you know, so that we can understand why, you know, Black people, you know, behave in certain ways and certain nuances and stuff like that. And how, you know, people pleasing conversation can actually be part of maybe what happened to you in childhood, you know, or maybe because you have got, you know, maybe, you know, if you were raised in a home that was difficult, you're going to find it very, very difficult to build relationships with Black people as customers, you know. And this is one of the things that I was talking about, you know, in the little video that I did, this whole thing around, you know, stop treating Black people like a commodity, you know.
Mm.
And I think if you struggle with relationship, if you struggle with having relationships, uh, you know, in your personal life, it's gonna leak out in how you do business, because, and it might be unconscious, it may be unconscious, but the fact that
But
you have
that's
difficulty
why
in your
a lot
personal
of
life,
times we
yeah,
talk about the nuances of, oh, you know, it's difficult to work with Black people and dot dot dot, customer service dot dot dot. There's a lot that goes into customer service, right?
oh,
And
yeah,
some people, their personal lives are bleeding into their professional lives to the point where their HR is just horrible. You
yeah.
know, now,
And
not to name,
it just
you know,
can't go like that.
brands, but there are certain brands that we love, and it's because of their professionalism and their customer service. And there are certain
Yeah,
brands that we don't like, and we call
yeah,
them out because of
yeah,
that, right?
yeah,
And so we have to understand how we talk to people, the tone, you know, the imagery, all of those things
mm,
are in. And all
yeah,
the stereotypes that they have of Black women bleed into how they see our businesses, right?
yeah,
Bleed into
yeah,
us being and feeling marginalized, right? Bleed
yeah,
into people telling me things like, well, I'm going to be honest with you, you were born in the wrong skin. Because the reality is, with your brain, you went to an Ivy League school, I went to Ivy League. The way you talk, the way you say
mm,
things, you should be selling to white folks. You would make more money. I've heard that all the time, multiple.
wow,
You know, you
wow,
selling to Black folks, so you gonna keep. You know, you need to be selling to white people. You need, and the problem is, you put too many Black people on your stuff. You put too many. All your pictures is Black. You scaring the white folks away. You scaring the real money away.
wow,
There are a lot
wow.
of
But I think, you
nuances
know,
to.
yeah. But I mean, and this is another reason why I love working with you, LaShanda, because, you know, I remember you talking about this in one of your early live streams, and I just thought to myself, you know, you were talking about how you felt called to work with Black women entrepreneurs. You could, yeah, you could go out there and sell to white people or whatever. You could do that, but your gut feeling is that you were called to work with Black women entrepreneurs, and I feel the same. I feel the same. And this whole thing about, you know, not treating Black people like a commodity and caring about the community is actually probably one of the main reasons why you're here today doing what you're doing and still earning a living from it. And actually one of the reasons why I love working with you, because you care. Yes, you earn a living. Yes, you charge what you charge, but you're worth every penny because you ultimately care about the community. You're not just doing it because you got to pay your light bill. You're doing it because you care about your community, and that really comes across from how you do your live streams to, how you talk to us in the mastermind, to the one-to-one sessions. It's so clear. It's so clear that you care about the community, and that's what Black people want. Because at the end of the day, and look, we don't feel loved in society. Society does not love Black. It's so
This is
anti-Black.
and the thing
Yeah,
about it, the melanin magic, the we need to be proud of our Black skin, the conversations that are trending now. It's scary to think it's a trend. It could be a new
yeah,
phase, a new form of
yeah,
understanding, or it could be
yeah,
a trend. But the reality is, either way, it's still new. And there's
yeah.
still a lot more work to do internally for us to really embrace that. There's a difference
Mm,
between saying, yeah, girl, melanin magic, whoop, whoop, and
yeah,
actually feeling it
doing
behind
it.
the closed
Yeah,
door, when you have to put your stuff out there, when you got to tell yourself that it's all right today, I'm going to do it anyway, in spite
yeah,
of the 101 reasons why you tell yourself not to. We
yeah.
still got to go through all of that, right?
Mm,
We still have to go through
yeah,
that. It's still fresh, it's still new. Still fresh and new in that it's not quite internalized, number one,
mm,
but still fresh and new in that we still, to a large degree, are marginalized. We still don't quite understand the
yeah,
nuances of working together and having a
yeah,
large enough visibility to really hit larger communities. We're still trying to
yeah.
figure out how to get this community thing to work right. You know what I
Mm,
mean? It's still
yeah,
fresh. I see Miss Rhonda here says, I've had times where I wanted to work with people with whom I knew I could not provide an equal value exchange, but
mm,
but let's scroll down here. What does she say? But they had the information I needed. There are ways to create more value through become a customer, become a client, gift them with some of your offers. Doing things like this will raise your value. Absolutely. I love that.
yeah,
Thank you so much for sharing
yeah,
that. You can raise your value, you can raise your image, even in when we talk about these triggering perspectives. You can raise your credibility, your value, you can raise your connection with people through your action,
yeah,
through the
yeah,
actions that you have, right? You can
yeah.
heal
One,
people and you can heal yourself as an entrepreneur. It becomes a healing process when you really make sure that you are your best. You're
yeah,
at your best. You're not
yeah.
trying to half-ass it, or you're not trying to do it just for the
Mm,
money, right?
yeah,
And I'm not, again, not calling out brands, not calling out businesses, but sometimes folks want to put stuff out there and they want to charge $9.95 because so and so is charging $9.95.
doesn't it?
Guess what?
Yeah.
If you got $9 stuff in your $9.95 product, you gonna piss a whole lot of people off who bought it for $1,000 and got look value. You know what I'm saying? Then you making it
It's
hard for the
true.
next one. When I'm giving away
Yeah,
$995,000 value and I'm charging $49 for it, you don't see the value because you done spend $1,000 over
no,
with this one and didn't get anything, right?
yeah,
There's so many different important things that we have to factor in when it comes to value, when it comes to healing, when
mm,
it comes to being confident in
yeah,
our image of how we look, right?
yeah,
And all of those pieces take time.
yeah, yeah. And this is some of the stuff that I wrote down about solutions around this stuff. Is that first and foremost, please, sisters that are watching this, you need support. You can't do this by yourself. You can't do this by
Yes.
yourself. You need a support network. the mastermind, you know, that I've been with you for 4 years has been such an important part of the journey, because just to see other Black people doing the same thing, talking about the same struggles, talking about the wins, you know, it's a journey. It's a journey, you know. So in terms of, you know, a lot of the external stuff that we've talked about, and even some of the, you know, hearing some of the ladies talking about, oh, I don't want to get on the camera, in front of the camera, and all of that kind of stuff, has been really,
Yep.
really great, because everybody's going through the same thing. You know, for the ladies in my circle, they talk about, you know, the struggles that they've had in relationships, the relationships that they struggle with their mums, the struggle that they have in terms of building their own self-confidence, understanding what racism is, and all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, having a space to be able to have those conversations is such a great place to start, because I believe the first step out of that, the insanity of racism and all the rest of it, is coming out of isolation, and finding other people that are doing the same work and saying, can you please help me? Can you
Right.
please help me do this? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do marketing. I don't know what a funnel is. I don't know what a funnel is. You know, I don't know what projection is. I don't know what. I don't know. I don't want to go to see a therapist. What does that mean? You know. So just talking to people and having those conversations is such an important step. I know we've got a long way to go as a people. We really do have a long way to go. But this is why I'm so grateful for the internet, because we have an opportunity on the platform of the internet to be able to reach people that we never would have reached before. You know, we never would have reached people before. I mean, obviously meeting face to face and stuff is great. And I know you've got, you know, you do your meetups and stuff as well. I do my meetups with, you know, over here. But I think the internet is, again, for especially for us as Black people, it's so important to be able to
Because
do
look
these
at the
collaborations
beautiful dynamic
online.
of you being in the UK, me being in here in the States, and simultaneously we here are internationally creating a
Yeah,
space to have this conversation. That's the beauty of the internet, right? We
yeah,
don't have to be sitting beside each other to hear each other, to
yeah,
speak to each other. And that's a
yeah,
beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
yeah.
So, you know, I would say, because I know we're going to have to drop off in a few minutes here, but I would say,
Mm,
because I'm so excited about this conversation and the next one we're going to have, being in a space where my fellow Black women and men entrepreneurs, my fellow sister girls, really get comfortable in your own skin, get
yeah,
comfortable understanding that yes, you can tell yourself and you can hear Black, brown skin, beautiful brown girl, dot, 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 but understand in your world, if it's still a healing process, it's still a healing process, right? We
yeah,
can't feel bad if it sometimes takes us a minute. We got to step back and get self-aware and get clear to get
yeah.
confident, because we're still healing,
Mm,
we're still triggered, and
yeah,
identify that if you are just as committed to working with other Black folks just as we are, they got some good
mm,
stuff that they need to do too, right? So sometimes we get on this internet space. We talked about the amazingness of how great it is for you to be in the UK, me to be in the States, and us to be able to communicate. But guess what? Folks on the internet is fast, but it ain't easy. Okay? It
yeah,
ain't easy. Just
yeah.
as you got
It's
things
hard.
that you need to work through, you got folks that they need to work through some things too. So stop being mad because you put something out there today and folks didn't buy in 5 minutes,
Didn't
right?
jump on it.
Because we
Yeah,
got to work with
yeah,
other Black folks. They got to heal. They got to know that you real. You feel me?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You got to take some time. There's
100%.
no call marketing. Here today, gone tomorrow. Ooh, I put up
Yeah,
Facebook ads. Ooh, I did a webinar. I should have made sales 5 minutes ago. No. If you
no, you
genuinely
have
in
to
this
be
game,
consistent.
you
Yeah,
have to be consistent. And you got to understand,
yeah,
if you are genuinely committed to working with other Black folks, you got issues, they got issues. We got to work through our issues, and we have to be patient with ourselves and with our customers. I know it's the
one.
web, and in our heads, the web, instant gratification and instant confirmation,
No,
affirmation, but it takes time. You got
yeah.
to every
You
single day
have to
remind
build a
yourself that it
relationship.
takes time. Yep,
Yeah,
definitely.
you have to, and
Definitely.
you have to be patient. And You know, no more shiny object syndrome. And like, oh, that don't work.
No.
I'm going to go and do Bitcoin today. You know, tomorrow I'm going to go and, you know, sell shea butter. You know, at the end of the day, customers don't, they want to see consistency. They want to see
Because the
consistency, whether
evolution
you're
of
making sales or not. They want
you
to
have
see
to
you
be
there talking
consistent.
about the same thing.
And
Yeah,
we think about
you
this.
have to
You've
stay consistent.
transitioned off of a job this year. You put together funnels that have been like pop, pop, pop. But think about 4 years ago when you took a year just to focus on content creation, right? Just
I
to
was
do
like,
content.
LaShanda, right? Yeah, yeah.
Right? And then
I
you
was
did
like,
your
oh my God,
startup,
it's not
you did your
working.
first, you've done your first meetup,
Yeah,
you about to do a retreat in Ghana. Come on now. Everything happens in divine right timing. You can't rush the
yeah,
creation process. You got to be kind to you, and you got to be kind to your clients too. Create a space for them to get to know you. Create a space for you to master this process because it doesn't happen overnight. A space for you to
yeah,
be confident to put your stuff out there because your stuff ain't gonna get out there unless you put yourself out there. That's the hard part. A
exactly.
lot of folks struggle with that. A
Yeah.
lot of sister girls out there, y'all want to help folks heal, but you don't want to keep it real. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna do a meme with that. I have to do a meme with that. LaShanda Henry
Come
says,
on now. Come on
folks
now.
want to
You
heal.
gotta keep it real.
It's true though.
Come
It's
on.
true though. It's true though. So listen, I know we have to
Yes.
wrap up now, but
Yes.
if there's anybody watching this broadcast, you've enjoyed what we've been talking about today, LaShanda will be back with us again tomorrow, where we are going to be talking about ready for revenue. Okay, we're going to be going through a ready for revenue checklist. We're going to be talking more about the Back to Business conference that is going to be happening in October, which is going to be amazing. Really excited about that. So if you've
Yes.
got any questions at all for LaShanda or myself, send us a DM. Apologies again for the technical difficulties in the beginning, but it was worth swapping because it was, you know, there's some real some gems in this broadcast. So
We gotta
yeah,
work
just
with
feel
technology.
free to,
We gotta work with it,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Make sure you
Exactly.
guys
So it's
are
been good.
on at Sister Central on Facebook, and you're on June Allen Yard of Greatness on her page on Facebook. June is going to be sending out information about the Back to Business virtual conference.
Yeah.
Bless God, she's going to be able to speak with us once again. And I've got information about Back to Business too. So between the two of us, we're going to make sure that you got everything that you need to participate and enjoy.
Yeah.
So excited about tomorrow, June. I will talk to you then.
Yeah. No, that'd be great. What I'll do actually is I'll put a link to the page in the comments, because then
Yeah.
underneath that you can get, I've got like a list of business tools plus the link to the Back to Business page as well. So if you go to heal.juneallen.net, heal heal.juneallen.net, you can go there, you can download my favorite business tools, and there'll be a link in there as well in the PDF that will take you straight to the Back to Business page, and you can find out all the details about this year's conference. So LaShanda, thank you I love doing the live streams with you. It's so fun. So same time tomorrow, everybody, 2 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to be talking about ready for revenue. So
2
if you're
p.m.
having struggling getting the
UK
coins,
time, 9 a.m. US time.
yes, 9
Well,
a.m.
well, Eastern
Eastern,
Standard,
2
because Lord have
p.m.
mercy, time differences.
Yes.
Eastern Standard US time, 9 a.m. So, all right, y'all.
Okay,
See y'all tomorrow.
great. So
Thanks,
I will see you
June.
tomorrow. All right, take care. Thanks, LaShanda. Bye. Bye.